Hey team, this is Kevin Indig. Welcome to another episode of the Blueprint, not live, Blueprint recorded video. And today I want to show you a very simple method to quickly find new keywords and understand how to create content for them. One of the biggest challenges that I see is not finding or multiplying keyword lists. Everybody can do this with free tools, but actually understanding what keywords a single article should target. And there's a very quick way that you can do with just a handful of tools. Let me show you how. So let's start with Semrush. I like Semrush's keyword magic tool because it has a couple of cool features. And today I want to show you this example at the hand of the keyword anxiety, right? So if you're a medical company or a pharmacy player or affiliate or something along these lines, anxiety might be a topic you might want to go after. And you can throw this into Ahrefs keyword magic tool and apply a couple of filters to find some really interesting topics to create content for. What I like to do is I like to define the database, which is the country, and then I like to click on questions. So again, I get questions that people ask, and I like to set the filter to related and then a minimum volume to 100. And the reason I'm doing that is if you go too broad, even broad match or phrase match will result in keywords that are too close to anxiety. But oftentimes, those keywords target the same user intent. So by going to related, you actually get a really good plethora of keywords that target different user intents, so you can create several pieces of content. Of course, you also want to set the language, no brainer. And then we get a whole bunch of keywords here. Matter of fact, we get 765 keywords. As a next step, I want to export these keywords to CSV so I can use them in Google Sheets. Now, I already imported the keywords here. I didn't do anything else really. I just kicked out a couple of irrelevant keywords. When you set the filter in Semrush to related, sometimes there will be a few keywords that are just nonsensical, but for this example, there were maybe 5 to 10 keywords. So you can clean those up relatively quickly. So now we have our list of keywords, as you can see here. And the first thing that I like to do is to just get a feeling for different user intents, and a quick way to do that is to just sort them alphabetically, and then you can already see that there are similar ways to phrase the same things, right? So can anxiety do X? That could be its own article. Can you have anxiety and not know it, right? Like there's basically a question here about the symptoms itself, some questions about the quiz. We're going to come back to that later. Does anxiety go away, right? So there's a question about how long it stays. You can already get a feeling that, there's some similar user intents here. Just phrased in a different way. But there is an even better way to exactly identify the user intent for this long list of keywords, right? You don't want to just sit here hours and hours and go through every keyword, Google the search results, see who ranks, see what the title is, and then infer the user intent from this. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to jump tools and we're going to go into Ahrefs. So in Ahrefs, we're going to copy paste the keywords. And I just want to point out that I'm jumping between tools here, but you can probably do the exact same thing with just a single tool. You don't need to use several tools. And I also don't think that one tool is that much better than the other tool. They're just different tools, right? But I'm going to show you why I like this. So you can copy paste all of your keywords, make sure you select the same language or market, which is the United States in this case. And then you get this long list of keywords here, just as we saw in Semrush. But what I like about Ahrefs is that you can look at the traffic share by page. And it's a little bit of a secret weapon, because to understand the traffic share by page, what Ahrefs has to do is they have to basically look which page ranks for most of these keywords. And the logical step that we can make here is to say, okay, if a page ranks for many of these keywords, it means that these keywords must have the same user intent, at least as long as we sort by top positions, right? And that's exactly how we're going to do this. So I copy pasted all the keywords. You see that now it just tells us the traffic share by page, not by domain, by page is important. And we can see that this Mayo Clinic article ranks for 12% of all the keywords that I copy pasted over, which is really interesting. Now we can see the keywords here. We click on this little button, but we cannot export this list of keywords. There's another little trick that we can apply. When you click on this export button, you'll just get this view, but you're not going to get the keywords. And so the way around this is to either copy that URL or to click on this little arrow here and then click on overview. And then from here, you can go back to organic keywords. You filter by the top 3 positions. And now you see all the relevant keywords that apply to the same user intent, and we actually get even more. We get 1,500 keywords here. So now I can, now I know exactly, okay, what are all the different ways to express the same user intent, because Google ranks this article in the top 3 positions. And if they do that, that means that this article must satisfy the user intent. Otherwise, it would not rank in the top positions. Of course, there are additional factors like backlinks and maybe some user experience and whatnot, but essentially user intent is a blocker. It's a gateway to ranking at all. And this article, because it performs so well for 1,500 keywords, must do something really, really well. So now I can go back, I can export all of these keywords, and I can compare them against my initial set of keywords here, right? I can export from Ahrefs. I'll get the URL and all the keywords. I can do a VLOOKUP and say, okay, I add a column here, URL, and then I can say, okay, this keyword must relate to that URL. So actually, why don't we just go ahead and do that live? Okay, I'm gonna export all the keywords. Here we go. Tab better said. I'm gonna call that Ahrefs. I'm going to upload that CSV, replace its selected cell. Awesome. And now we have the URL in here. We can just pull the current URL a bit forward to make the VLOOKUP easier. And now we can just go ahead here. We can tell the Semrush to keep it clean. And now we can say, okay, VLOOKUP this keyword in this list and return to me the URL. And if it's not available, then that's just an extra keyword that we can use. But oops, something went wrong here. I actually made a mistake. Excuse me about that. Let's go back here and actually take the current URL and move the wrong column. Okay, now when we replace these two, now we should get the URL. Okay, here we go. Which means that whenever we can create a nicer representation of that error here, but whenever we do get the URL, we know that this keyword has the same user intent. There will be a lot that don't, because there are 1,500 keywords in Ahrefs, and I think we only had 750 in Semrush, but you can already see that this is quite good. We have quite a lot of keywords here, and that makes it super simple for us to determine user intent. I can now remove that filter, bring it back, and I can say, okay, only show me the keywords that relate to this article. And now I know all the keywords that address that user intent. It took me maybe 5 minutes to put together. And if I want to take it a step further, I can now look at that actual article and I see, okay, this is a longer guide that includes the symptoms, causes, and everything about that disease, about anxiety. And I can now replicate that article in that same manner and target all of these keywords that are related to the article. I can also take all these keywords, let's do that, and I can throw them into ClearScope or Surfer SEO, at least maybe the ones that have the highest search volume, and say, okay, give me instructions for creating content that match those keywords, knowing that they all go after the same user intent. And this way I get a very clean content brief. I can just create the content and upload it. So it's one of my preferred methods. And then from here, now that we have identified this one article that clusters all the keywords by the same user intent, we can now technically take all the other keywords that don't have a URL here, and we can throw them back into Ahrefs, so we can find the next best URL and the next best user intent. So you can work your way through that, and this way you can cluster a list of maybe 750 keywords within, I would say, 15 or 20 minutes, and get really good content recommendations out there. And you can even throw them back into Semrush or Ahrefs and track your position. If you want that many keywords, you might not, but this list can be repurposed in a lot of different ways. And the simple trick is to just play with the traffic share feature in Ahrefs, and then play with the organic keywords by URL, and of course filter them by top 3, so you get strong signal and not any keywords that are relevant. Yeah, that's my tip for today. Reach out to me in Slack, or let me know what your preferred method is. There are other ways as well. Keyword Insights.ai, for example, does a really good job at keyword clustering. There might be a couple of other ways. I also have a method to cluster by featured snippet, or better said by SERP snippet, which I can introduce in the next video. But give me some feedback. How do you like that? What tools and methods do you use? And do you want me to talk about more keyword clustering, or is that too easy of a topic? I'll see you in the next video.